Hello, Barcelona family. Feel free to like and subscribe to the channel to stay updated on everything about Barcelona. In this video, we have a huge revelation concerning Barcelona, but before that, let's talk about other topics that are also very important for our beloved club. Firstly, Barcelona's sporting management is not resting. The club is in a phase where every move counts, every decision paves the way, and every detail is closely scrutinized. In this context of maximum demand, the offices of the Catalan club have become a hub of ideas, strategies, and contacts, all aimed at consolidating an ambitious, renewed, and competitive project. And on this footballing chessboard, one name is starting to resonate strongly: Marcus Rashford. The Manchester United winger has been linked several times to the Blaugrana club, but this time, the situation is different. There are clear signs that the interest is neither superficial nor speculative. Deco's visit to a private meeting with a representative of the English player this very week in the county town has been the spark that ignited the debate among fans and generated excitement in the club's corridors. It was not a protocol or courtesy meeting, but a gathering where the possibilities of his incorporation were seriously explored, both from an economic and sporting perspective. It is not necessary to go very far back in time to remember that Rashford was already in Barcelona's orbit during the last winter transfer window. At that time, the club had evaluated his arrival on loan, but the complex situation of the salary margin had prevented the negotiations from coming to fruition. However, contexts change, and a window of opportunity is now opening that should not be ignored. The player is not just an interesting option, but has become a real priority for a significant part of the sporting management. And it is not without reason. Marcus Rashford possesses a set of qualities that make him a very valuable piece in the scheme of any team aspiring to compete at the highest level. His ability to unbalance, his physical power, his speed, his intuition to find spaces, and his footballing maturity despite his young age make him a complete, versatile, and immediately useful footballer. He can play on both wings, although his best version has been manifested on the left, where, with space, he becomes absolutely unstoppable. But beyond the technical qualities, there is a determining factor: Rashford wants to come to Barcelona. It is as clear as that. He is not a player being offered by his entourage to find a decent way out. It is he who has expressed to his representative his desire to wear the Blaugrana shirt, and this, in today's football where operations are defined as much by the player's will as by negotiations between clubs, is a significant advantage. At Manchester, the situation of the English winger is becoming increasingly delicate. The new coach, Ruben Amorim, does not consider him a key piece of his project, and from the management of the British club, it has been made known that they are ready to listen to offers. There is even talk that they would be open to a loan with an obligatory purchase option if certain objectives are met, such as matches played or qualification for European competitions. A figure close to €40 million could conclude the agreement definitively, although Barcelona is evaluating a smarter, less financially aggressive but equally effective formula: an initial loan with a flexible purchase option. In this sense, Deco's role is once again crucial. The sporting director is weaving the threads of an operation that, if all goes well, could be one of the big moves of the summer. And he is not alone. The technical staff, led by Hansi Flick, has also given their approval for Rashford's arrival. The German coach appreciates his ability to adapt to different schemes, his professionalism, and his talent for resolving blocked matches. Flick knows he needs depth in the squad and players with experience in demanding scenarios, and Rashford fits this profile perfectly. The arrival of the Englishman could also represent an emotional boost for the dressing room and the fans. We are talking about a player who has been an international with England, who has played in the elite of the Premier League for years, and who has been a protagonist in European competitions. His background, charisma, and personality could bring silent but fundamental leadership in moments of high competitive tension. And if he comes with the hunger to show that he still has much to offer, the impact could be even greater. It should not be forgotten that Rashford is coming off a difficult season at Manchester United. Criticism, the team's inconsistency, coaching changes, and constant pressure have influenced his performances. But great players always find a way to bounce back, and Barcelona could be the perfect place for this footballing rebirth. A new environment, a new league, a new footballing culture, everything indicates that this could be the boost he needs to return to his best level. The Catalan club, for its part, is in a phase of reconstruction where combining youth and experience is vital. The arrival of Rashford would allow the addition of a different profile to the attack, an experienced player but with still room for improvement. It is not easy to find footballers with this balance. Many of the big names in the market are out of the club's economic reach, and others simply do not represent that middle point between quality, experience, and ambition that the Englishman offers. Fans have naturally already started to react on social media, in sports debates, and in fan conversations. The name of Rashford generates debate, but also a lot of excitement. And it is not without reason. The possibility of seeing the English winger take on rivals on the flank, dribble with power, and score goals in big scenarios is not just a tactical issue but also an emotional one. Because there are players who connect with the stands from day one, and everything indicates that Marcus would be one of them. At a time when Europe's big clubs are fiercely competing for every available talent, getting ahead of the competition and closing a deal with Rashford would be a clear proof of shrewdness and strategic planning. There are still negotiations to be concluded, contractual details to be fine-tuned, and logistical aspects to be resolved. But the important thing is that all parties are aligned. The player wants to come, the club wants to recruit him, the technical staff approves him, and the operation is feasible. In a market where everything can change from one day to the next, these conditions do not present themselves every day. That is why the question now is for the fans. What do you think, Kuhl? Does the possible arrival of Marcus Rashford excite you? Do you think he can bring to the team what it needs in this new cycle? Are you ready to see a footballer hungry for glory defend this shirt with pride and commitment? The second piece of news concerns an important decision within the club. The future of Joan Garcia, the young goalkeeper from Espanyol and one of the major revelations in Spanish football this season, is beginning to take on a Blaugrana hue. His name has ceased to be a mere rumor in the club's corridors and has become one of the priority targets for Barcelona's sporting management. A club that has always bet on young talent, local identity, and players with a winning mentality. Joan embodies not only these virtues but also represents a strategic opportunity that Barcelona is not willing to let slip away. From the club's offices at Camp Nou, internal moves have already been initiated to study in detail the contractual conditions of the 23-year-old goalkeeper, who has shown exceptional performances in Espanyol's goal and has a release clause of €25 million. A price that, in the current context, is accessible considering his potential, age, room for improvement, and the need to strengthen the future of a key position like that of a goalkeeper. Joan Laporta, president of Barcelona, is closely following the case and has shown great interest in ensuring that the club gets ahead of other major European clubs that have already set their sights on the Catalan goalkeeper. In particular, Real Madrid has begun making moves to try to secure his signing as a possible medium-term replacement, which has set off all the alarms within the Blaugrana management. Laporta has conveyed to his closest circle the symbolic and sporting significance of snatching this signing away from their eternal rivals, especially since it involves a player who grew up in the city and fully understands what the Blaugrana crest represents. For Barcelona, this is not just a market operation. Joan Garcia represents a bet on the future and the recovery of a recruitment policy that prioritizes national talent with a competitive DNA. In an era where every euro must be justified, the club is looking for smart operations with a sporting impact and institutional sense. Joan meets all these conditions. The player himself has not hidden his admiration for Barcelona's style of play and club model. Sources close to his entourage assure that Joan would view a move to Camp Nou very favorably, aware that it is a natural step in his evolution. Despite his commitment to Espanyol, Joan understands that his career needs new challenges and that wearing the Blaugrana colors would be a way to grow both professionally and personally. His entourage is evaluating not only the projection he would have in Barcelona but also the competitive environment, daily demands, and the possibility of working under a coach like Hansi Flick. Precisely, Barcelona's new coach has been one of the promoters of interest in Joan. Hansi Flick has reviewed reports, watched videos of the young goalkeeper, and sought the opinion of several members of the technical staff. His verdict was clear. Joan Garcia has the technical, tactical, and mental qualities necessary to integrate into the squad and develop within the Blaugrana playing model. The German coach's confidence has been key in accelerating contacts and seriously considering pursuing his signing. Flick has shown a very determined vision in this matter. He believes that waiting any longer could mean losing a player who is in the process of consolidation and could strengthen a direct rival if action is not taken quickly. The German does not want to repeat past mistakes where the club missed opportunities due to a lack of determination. Therefore, he has urged management to bet on Joan without hesitation if they believe in his potential. However, as is customary in the Blaugrana environment, not everyone agrees. There are sectors within the club that believe Joan Garcia still needs to accumulate more experience in the elite before taking on a significant role at Barcelona. Some think that his signing would involve taking an unnecessary risk, especially if he does not arrive with guaranteed starter status from day one. At this stage, the debate is more intense than ever. Should they bet on Jone now or wait for him to mature a little more before having him wear the Blaugrana shirt? The dilemma is complicated by the emergence of Real Madrid, which has already initiated contacts with the goalkeeper's entourage. The merengues, always attentive to the national market, see Jone as an ideal profile to renew their goalkeeping in the medium term. The uncertainty surrounding some of their current goalkeepers has prompted the Madrid sporting management to act quickly, which has accelerated the timelines at Barcelona. In the Camp Nou offices, they are aware that it is not just a signing at stake, but also the possibility that a Catalan talent could strengthen their eternal rival, and for many, this is unacceptable. For all these reasons, Jone Garcia has become one of the most talked about names in recent weeks within the Blaugrana universe. His age, performances, and potential make him an attractive gem, but also a challenge. If the club bets on him, it must be ready to support him in his development, protect him from pressure, and believe in his evolution. The internal debates at the club also include tactical aspects. Jone is a modern goalkeeper, brave, with a great ability to play with his feet and good positioning. He is not just a reflex goalkeeper. He is a footballer who understands the game, knows how to read situations, and provide security to the defense, qualities that Flick greatly appreciates and that fit perfectly with what is expected of a Barcelona goalkeeper. Additionally, his cost is not exorbitant. In an inflationary market, paying €25 million for a young national goalkeeper without adaptation issues and hungry to grow can be seen as a strategic operation. The club has already begun exploring formulas to approach the operation without endangering its economic planning. Installment payments, the inclusion of variables based on objectives, and even loans as bargaining chips to reduce the final amount are being considered. They know that his signing by the Blaugrana club could not only represent a professional leap, but also an opportunity to enter the orbit of the Spanish national team with greater visibility. Jone is ambitious, hard-working, and aware of what it means to defend the Camp Nou goal. The scenario is set. On one side, Barcelona wants to bet on the future, on local talent, and on a reliable goalkeeper. On the other, Real Madrid threatens to get ahead in the operation. In the middle, a player who dreams of growing and proving that he can be one of the great goalkeepers of his generation. And you, Kuhl, what do you think? Do you believe Barcelona should go for Jone Garcia now or wait a little longer? Does his potential arrival excite you, or do you prefer a different profile to strengthen the goalkeeping? Should the club avoid at all costs the possibility of him ending up at the Santiago Bernabéu or act with composure? The debate is on the table, and you can also be a part of it. The third piece of news is a major shock at Barcelona. The sporting machinery of Barcelona is in full swing, and one of the big names occupying internal conversations, strategic meetings, and the club's corridors is Nico Williams. The young talent from Athletic Club is not just a fulfilled promise of Spanish football but one of those rarities that combine youth, audacity, competitive maturity, and a huge ambition to continue growing. And this ambition has led him to make a decision that is shaking the market. He wants to leave Bilbao and do so in the direction of Barcelona. Yes, Nico has had enough. Not because he doesn't appreciate his home club, not because he doesn't value what he has experienced at San Mamés, but because he has understood that his career needs new horizons, bigger challenges, a more demanding context that pushes him to reach the next level. And that next level is called Barcelona. The players' will has been key. Nico wants to wear the Blaugrana shirt. He wants to feel part of a historic project that is once again focused on young talent and looks to the future with ambition. And he doesn't want this out of whim, but because he understands that in Barcelona, he will find a style of play that perfectly suits his conditions, an ideal footballing environment, and, above all, an emotional connection with teammates with whom he has demonstrated enviable chemistry in the Spanish national team. This natural synergy that has been born among them is not a minor detail. It is one of the engines of the player's desire to land in the Blaugrana dressing room as soon as possible. From within the club, this interest has been received with enthusiasm. The sporting management has already made moves with advanced conversations and a clear idea: to pay the €58 million stipulated by his release clause. Although the figure is high, it is not so much when considering the quality that Barcelona secures with his arrival. We are talking about a footballer who has already demonstrated his value, who has been key in important matches, who has shown in the league, and who has taken firm steps in the national team. A complete player with explosive speed, exquisite technique, precise game reading, and audacity that is contagious. And yet, Despite all these factors that place Barcelona at the starting line, let's be honest, we are not alone in this race. The big clubs in Europe have sniffed out Nico's talent and are also on the lookout. But they are not doing it with heart, nor with a project, nor with an identity. They are doing it with checkbooks, empty promises, and repetitive speeches that no one believes anymore. Let's start with the usual suspects, Real Madrid. The White Club, as is tradition, has inserted itself into the operation in its usual manner, with arrogance, believing that all players must succumb to its siren's calls. But the reality is different. The player is not seduced by Florentino's balcony nor by the cameras of its affiliated media. Nico does not want to be a mere propaganda signing or a hasty response to a planning problem. Because in Madrid, there is no real place for him, only another showcase where to display him without guaranteeing him a leading role or continuity. And Nico is not there for that. He wants to play, grow, feel important. He wants to compete for real, not be a domino piece on a board that moves at the whim of whoever commands from the heights. Then there is PSG, with its parade of checks and its everything is for sale sign. But there are things that money cannot buy. The soul, for example, identity, the idea of belonging to something greater than just a club. Nico is not a mercenary player. His entourage knows it, he knows it, and that is why he has given evasive answers to the Parisians, who can no longer hide that, despite all their millions, they fail to convince those who are truly worth it. Because joining PSG means entering a spiral of pressure, tactical confusion, and constant changes that do not allow any young player to grow with their head on their shoulders. And then there is Arsenal, a likable club, yes, but increasingly desperate to regain its lost place in elite football. They talk about projects, youth, future, but how many years have they repeated the same speech without translating it into real titles? Nico does not want to be another piece in another reconstruction experiment. He does not want to be a starter 1 month and a substitute the next because someone on the technical staff has changed their mind. He wants continuity, a clear structure, a recognizable footballing idea, and that, in London, is still in the testing phase. That is why the opportunity at Barcelona is as great as it is real. Here, there is style, vision, a path laid out, and a competitive base where Nico can fit perfectly, strengthening the group and strengthening himself. The possibility of playing in this environment, with a special synergy with some teammates with whom he already shines in the national team, deeply attracts him. Nico dreams of playing every week in the stadium, feeling the roar of the crowd, and lifting the fans with every dribble. From a sporting point of view, his incorporation would be a statement, not only for what he would bring to the team immediately but because it would send a clear message to the football world. Barcelona remains the place where the best want to be. Nico is not a band-aid. He is a star project, a player who can make a difference from the first minute. His ability to confront, his defensive sacrifice, his flair for generating danger, and his competitive character are highly sought-after virtues in today's football. Furthermore, this signing would be a signal to young talents. If you want to grow, if you want to compete at the highest level, if you want to feel part of something big, your place is at Barcelona. And that weighs, that counts. The pressure, of course, now weighs on the club's offices. Laporta and his team must act with decisiveness and speed. There is no time for hesitation. Bureaucracy or doubts cannot hinder an operation that could change the course of the next decade. The moment is now, the pieces are in place, only the final move is missing. And you, Kuhl, who have read all this with attention, with passion, with your heart beating faster at the possibility of seeing Nico in our shirt, what do you think? Does this signing excite you as much as it excites us? Do you think he is the player who can lead the new phase of the club? Do you see him fitting in, shining, making his mark in every match? Football, in the end, is about this: emotion, identity, connection. Nico knows it, that's why he wants to come, that's why he is ready to take the step, and that's why Barcelona must respond. It's not just about adding one more name, it's about building a solid, brave, exciting future. It's about showing the world that here, no one gives up, that here, souls are not bought with money, that here, we play with heart. And this heart, at this moment, beats for Nico. Let him not escape, let's go get him. Give us your opinion in the comments.